Good afternoon, ladies and gents. Welcome back to SKG Tier 1. My name is George Sanderson. Alongside me in the commentary box here in a very sunny Brazil is Ollie Lewis. Ollie, it's good to have you back. It's good to be back at this iconic circuit. How's things going with you today?
Yeah, very well. Thank you, my friend. Yeah, good to have you back again. After your little hiatus last week. We won't say why, but
I had
me.
a little Valentine's hiatus. I am back. It is good to be back for a circuit I absolutely adore. This is by far my favourite circuit on the calendar, I'd say. Even beating Silverstone for me. I love this place. Love commentating here as well. It's good to have you back alongside me as well. You've held down the fort a couple of times this season. And, well, hopefully that'll be the last time I need you to do so. But you covered Singapore last week, Ollie, and safe to say it was a bit of a dramatic, bit of a controversial race. For those of us that missed it, just sort of take us through what happened in that one.
Yeah, I mean, strap in, everyone. If you didn't even watch Singapore, yeah, my oh my oh my, what a chaotic one we had. I mean, if you'd watched Tier 4 that week, you would have seen 4 safety cars, multiple DNFs, just chaos. And we got to Tier 1. We were going okay. We got a safety car at the start, I believe. And we got to lap 25 or lap 26, and we then lost, I think, 4 cars due to disconnects. And we had, I think it was Esko Kalevi, Sway, Goat Ghosty, and one more. I think it was Takubi. And at that time, Esko Kalevi was leading, and unfortunately he lost the race lead, and unfortunately lost the race win due to his disconnect. But thankfully, the SKG higher-ups have given him the win, as it was pretty much unfair him losing it due to a disconnect. So, yeah, pretty unfortunate for a couple of drivers there. Yeah, Ghosty lost out on a podium, I think, but thankfully he would have got that back, I think it was.
Yes.
P3 P4.
Yeah, so we ended up, the results were cycled back to where the mass disconnect happened, because essentially a third of the lobby was lost in that one set of disconnects. And the results, as a result, have been pushed back to lap 26. Full points awarded, as over 75% distance was completed. As we say, Risbo set the initial pace with a 107.185. But yeah, the results pushed back to lap 26, which meant Esko Kalevi took his first win of the season, the second of his career, ahead of Goat Ghosty in the Ferrari and Dom in the McLaren, as Parker now puts himself to the top of the time boards. Trosh in third, and I believe that is the Williams of Esko Kalevi, last week's race winner, coming up to the line, but clearly going for a second run, as a 1:24 is not exactly representative. But so yeah, Esko won from Goat Ghosty, from Dom, Krabs, Parker, Magnussen Cube, Takubi, Risbo, Tom Campbell and Sway, your top 10 in that, which means heading into this round, we have a new championship leader, and it is the man we are looking at currently. Esko Kalevi leads the Drivers' Championship on 78 points, ahead of the man currently on provisional pole, Parker, not Tom Campbell. I've just seen Tom Campbell go quickest with a 1:06.7, narrowly ahead of his teammate. But Parker, second in the championship, 7 points off championship leader Esko Kalevi with 71. Then it's quite a distance back to Nardo in third with 42, who is not here tonight. And then SKG Venzi, also not here tonight, on 34. Katsuya Jacek on 31, who is here and is tied with Takubi on 31 points. So both of those two will be hoping to take advantage here today and really try and boost their championship hopes. But I think it was the fairest way of doing it, by cycling back to lap 26, and Esko will certainly be very happy that they did so, as he looks set for the win and he gets handed it. Hello Balash in the chat. Shame we've not got you on the grid. We were speaking about it before the stream went live, that you were on course to become the joint record holder for the most appearances at McLaren. It would have been your 17th appearance for the Papaya team, and of course, you, as you lost your seat before race 16, so you've not quite equalled that record, but hopefully someday you return to the team and are able to equal Panos for 16 McLaren races. We are looking at one of the last drivers to complete a lap time at the moment, that being Takubi. He's heading round to Junção at the moment before he starts the long 1.2 kilometre climb back up towards the Senna S's, but he invalidates again. I didn't really see where he did that, but the Ferrari will complete his lap time nonetheless and will set a 107.364. Would have been good enough just for P11. 2 thousandths of a second slower than Krabs's Aston Martin. So, 16 drivers in the lobby with us. We are not expecting any latecomers, but you never know. We'll keep an eye out. And currently, we are watching Vilius Astocas come up to the line to set a banker lap time there. And I expect, indeed, he is going for a second run. So let's ride on board with the Alpine, who is reserving tonight, having been dropped by Mercedes. He's back in the pink Alpine team, making his 10th appearance for the French outfit as we come to the end of Sector 1, 1.7 seconds up, dropping down the hill now through turns 4 and 5 at Descida de Lago before we head into this fantastic middle section at Brazil. So undulating, so winding, and so many little potential overtaking opportunities. You can always go for a lunge into turn 10, which we're about to come up to at Bico de Pato. Hard on the brakes, third gear, and back on the power as we now go back down the hill through Magulio at turn 11 and towards the final braking zone of the lap, turn 12 at Junção. Sets a purple sector 2 according to the game. We'll wait and see how true that is. He's certainly gaining a lot on his initial lap time as we come up to the line, sticking to the left hand side to minimise the run to the line. It's a 107.455, good enough for P12 at the moment, so Vilius just outside of that top 10.
Yeah, a few cars coming out onto the circuit now, including the man currently sitting third in the times at the moment. And I want to talk about Casper, because last week, GB has seen this. I hope a few of you have seen this, but he had one of the most bizarre DNFs I've ever seen in this game, and honestly, I'm still shocked at what happened. Just coming over the Anderson Bridge at Singapore, didn't even hit the wall hard, just brushed it, took his wheel straight off, and that was Casper out of the race. And I do feel so sorry for him, because he had that. I think he qualified last, or was in at the back, and he was doing one of his Casper masterclasses at having a great recovery drive, and unfortunately the game just decided that he didn't want to do no more. So hopefully no shenanigans like that again this tonight for him.
Yeah,
as he validates coming out of turn 3.
Yeah, you've sort of taught that one up there, I feel like. I feel like that's maybe our qualifying commentator's curse that we were so used to over the past few seasons. But yeah, Catsbear will be hoping for a good result here. He's had an indifferent season. He's had 2 very strong performances in Melbourne and Belgium, where he got 4th and 2nd respectively. But he's then had a P10 in Monza and obviously the retirement last week at Singapore. So he's had an indifferent season. He has been waiting a long time for a race win. 27 races since Catesby and Jacek last stepped on the top step of the podium, and he'll be hoping that that miserable run comes to an end. He has of course featured on the podium multiple times since then, but for someone like Catsbear, runner-up in the championship, of course, in both seasons 11 and 12, he'll be hoping that this is perhaps the real moment to kickstart his championship. It is far too early to say it's a 2-horse race between Esko Kalevi and Parker, but if drivers don't start scoring some serious points soon, those two could well and truly run away with it.
Yeah, I was just keeping an eye on Parker as he was through the middle sector, and unfortunately he's hit the curb and bottled his lap. It was looking like a pretty good lap so far, as his teammate Tom Campbell is 10th and a half up, as he's now round what I want to say is the final corner at the infamous Is That Glock corner.
Yeah, turn 12 at Junção.
Yeah, he opens the DRS and up to the line comes the Racing Bulls. And he improves.
Yeah, 106.642 for Tom Campbell. The Australian is on form here as we're back in the Southern Hemisphere at the Autodromo Jose Carlos Pache in Interlagos, Sao Paulo.
As Takubi is taking an interesting line through turn 1. Going a reverse way through the first corner, that was odd.
He has set time to put himself on the 4th row of the grid though. P7 and P8 at the moment for the two Ferraris, who the team has had a decent weekend so far. They were P3 and P4 in Tier 2 earlier this afternoon, with Nanu on the podium ahead of PW Jones. But yeah, at the moment it is Tom Campbell and Portuguese Beast who are at the front and setting the pace currently. Very impressive lap actually by the Haas with a 106.689, just sticking out of the way as much as they can through this winding middle sector. And let's take a look. So we got Esko Kalevi letting someone through. Who is next on the lap? I think that's the Alpine of Risbo, and indeed it is. He's coming up to the line. He is just up on his time according to our timing boards, and it's a slight improvement, but it's not enough to improve his position. He stays in P11 for the time being. Magnussen Cube is invalid on his lap. We've got a Ferrari coming round of Takubi, but he comes into the pit lane. Who's that? That looks like the other Alpine of Villiers Lasocas. He's starting though his next flying lap, and we've already rode on board with Villiers one time tonight. We will let him get on in peace without us spying on him this time around. Red Bull coming up to the line. Is it?
It was Trosh to start that.
Yeah, Trosh to start his lap time. Down in P13 at the moment. T1 in Tier 2 earlier this afternoon with a commanding performance. If it wasn't for a late safety car, he would have, he would have won by over 10 seconds, but that gap would have been cut down massively because of a 10-second time penalty he got for speeding into the pit lane for his one pit stop. But Trosh, an incredible performance, really. And he'll be hoping to go strong again here in this one. P13 at the moment, not a bad effort from him whatsoever. Got Krabs coming up to the line, but I believe he's coming into the pits. And indeed he does. Worth mentioning, his teammate Brad, of course, back tonight. First time in 16 races. Good to have him back on the grid. Bran, a driver who is in his 23rd start here tonight, and he's been pretty similar to his teammate Krabs, really, in terms of success. They've got 4 and 3 podiums between them.
What a lap. Trosh up to P6.
Wow.
Just by his teammate. Yeah, lovely lap from the Red Bull.
That is very impressive from the Tier 2 race winner. There were rumours and a bit of speculation that he might find himself racing in Tier 1 a bit more often than not in the near future, and a lap like that really stakes a claim that he is not here to just make up the numbers here tonight. He's reserving alongside Katzber and finds himself only half a tenth back from his far more experienced teammates in Tier 1. I mean, Katzber could equal the most pole positions in Tier 1 history tonight if he sticks it on pole. Going for his 10th career pole position to draw level with Takubi. And that is a phenomenal lap time, though, by Trosh. His best qualifying in Tier 1 before today was 15th. I think he might beat that today.
Yeah, I mean... if you want to stay Tier 2, Trosh, don't do a lap like that. Let's just... Oh, yeah.
Very impressive. Yeah, very impressive indeed. We now come to the sort of awkward moment while we wait for drivers to come out. But it looks like Sausage Joe is heading out at the moment, and there he is, coming out of the pit exit. I believe there is the Williams of Esko Kalevi about to come out in the background as well. We'll take a look. Yes, he does. So we'll follow one of those two on their final run in qualifying, and I'm tempted to follow our championship leader, to be honest, because he is certainly one to watch at the moment. Esko Clevi, I believe it is the first time in his Tier 1 career that he has led a Drivers' Championship. And he has really, I'm not sure about you, Ollie, but he's really impressed me so far this season. He's been constant feature in that top 5, the only driver to have finished all 5 races and all of them in the top 5 at the moment. So really, really impressive start to this season.
Yeah, he's labelling himself early as Mr. Consistent, and he's going to be hoping to be consistently still in that top 5 come the end of the season. Hopefully earned himself well his first championship, and you'd love to see it.
Absolutely. So, let's see what Esko is doing. I believe we are warming up for a second outlap here, so we are not going to keep an eye on Esko's lap. And it also looks like Sausage Joe is doing the same. So we're seeing a few drivers here go for 2 outlaps before starting their final run in qualifying, and there's still a minute 50 left on the clock, so I reckon everyone who is heading out at the moment could go round and do an outlap before their push lap if they wanted to. Let's keep an eye on Ghosty. Is he burning much battery? Nope, he's going for a second outlap as well. So Sausage Joe could well end up being the first person to start a serious final lap in this session. What does Magnussen Cube do? Because he has time to go for 2 runs if he wants to. We'll wait and see as he drops down the hill through the centre S's. Is he going for a push lap now? I think he might be. So Magnussen Cube will watch to the end of the first sector, and then we're going to go back and jump on board with Esko Clevi. And Magnussen Cube not quite up on his time. He's going to need to find some time. A huge snap of oversteer, and that will be his lap done. But Magnussen should have time to get back around and go for one final run. So keep an eye on him. Keep an eye on the yellow flags as everyone looks to start their laps. But we are going to keep an eye on our championship leader. Esko Clevi, the Finn in the Williams, rises up the hill and across the line to start his final lap in qualifying. Down to 3rd gear as we head down the hill through the centre S's. Quick shift up to 4th and then 5th to get as much traction as he can coming through the first couple of corners. DRS open, and we head down the Retroposta towards turn 4, looking at the braking zone. Hard on the brakes, shifts down to 4th to get the early turn in, but then back up to 5th as we drop down the hill through 5 at the Siga de Largo. And now for arguably the toughest corner on the circuit, Ferradura through turn 6 and then Curvo da Laranjina of 7, hard on the brakes through 8, down the hill through 9, and then rising back up towards Bico de Pato, 4th gear, 5th gear, hard on the brakes, in 3rd gear, not touching 2nd for the extra bit of turning as Tom Campbell improves his lap to a 106.440. That is a phenomenal lap time by the Australian, who's going for what will be his 2nd pole position of his career. What can Esko Clevi do though? Next up to the line, will he be able to challenge for that pole position or just get himself on the front row of the grid? Up to the line, it's only P3 for the man leading the championship at the moment. We got the McLarens and the Nahir Bassara up to 6th. His teammate Robin is only 7th. Katzber retires at Bico de Pato. No improvement for him and no record equaling 10th pole tonight. Krabs goes up to 5th. That's a fantastic life. Parker is invalid. It'll only be 4th for the man 2nd in the championship. Here come the Ferraris. We've got Ghosty, only 11th. Doesn't improve his lap time. The Sauber of, I believe that was Villiers Astokas, stays 16th. What about Takubi? He's up on his lap, only 10th at the moment, up to the line, and it's P7 for the Belgian. And it'll be Tom Campbell then in the V-Carb, who takes his first pole position of the season, his 2nd of his career. A phenomenal effort there. 2.5 tenths clear. That is pure dominance from the man from down under.
Oh god, I think this grid is always so tight. I don't think I've actually seen a gap that big. I don't even remember. I don't even remember the last time I saw someone take pole position in Tier 1 by over 2 tenths.
That is the biggest. It's an interesting qualifying because it is so typical Brazil. But Tom Campbell has just pulled something special out the bag there, because that is the biggest margin of pole position we've had all season. 0.249 of a second, surpassing the 0.219 we saw in Italy, where I believe Nardo claimed pole position. But the whole field within 0.839 of a second, that is actually the closest field spread we've had all season. So we have both the closest and the furthest apart qualifying in one session there. But I think that just shows how insane that lap by Tom Campbell actually was. To be so far ahead in a grid so close together. So then, while we wait and everyone sets their strategies, Ollie, your predictions going into this one, because we have a real race on our hands here. We've got Tom looking imperious after that lap in quali. We've got Portuguese Beast up there, which we perhaps weren't expecting. He sort of went under the radar in that qualifying session. And then we have the two title hopefuls on the second row together.
Yeah, I'm hoping that it's going to be good. I mean, watching Tier 4, where I think the gaps just kind of went, like, it was quite, I mean, I know you were there, and I don't mean to offend you, but it was kind of a boring race to watch.
It was. It was horrible to be in as well.
So I'm hoping that, you know, this is going to be quite a good one. Yeah, like you said, Esko, Clavey and Parker there in third and fourth. But yeah, like you said, Portuguese Beast. I mean, he had a stinker in Singapore. So he's come back with a bang.
Yeah, P12 in Singapore, not what he was hoping, but then puts in the best qualifying performance of his career so far. What can he do from the front row? But with Tom Campbell, who stares at the lights, and we are underway in Brazil. We look to get going towards turn 1, and Tom Campbell will just about hold the lead ahead of Portuguese Beast. Heading into the first turn, will everyone make it through cleanly? We've got Krabs and Parker side by side as we drop through the centre S, and round the outside goes the Aston Martin on the man, fighting for his first championship title. Been runner-up the past 2 seasons, and Parker will lose out to the Aston Martin, or will he? A bit of contact between the two of them. Krabs goes off wide. Parker holds on to 4th place, but will that one see the stewards, the other Aston Martin in the background, of Bran, running wide as well? But everyone just about making it through the first set. So in the background, Takubi down the inside of his former championship rival, all the way back in season 12, and gets up into 6th place at the expense of Cats Bay and Jajik.
Yeah, in the background, the other Red Bull and Ferrari are going side by side. Josh and Ghosty as well in the background. Salva going off, and yeah, the Sausage Joe's had some incident. Is that going to be any VSC? I don't think it will be.
No, Sausage Joe there, spinning off in the background. He was joined by the Alpine of Risbo. Let's take a look for the damage on their cars. No front wing left on the Alpine. Damage to the Salva as well. He's lost his front right end plate there, and that will be costly for the pair of them. So into the pits comes Risbo. Let's take a look at the tyres as we start lap 2. Everybody apart from FST Robin on the hard tyres. And well, I think this is actually the first time we've mentioned Robin, the new signing at McLaren after Balash and Luchis were let go in recent weeks. It's now Dom and Robin at McLaren. And he's currently been shown up by his part-time teammate, Mahir Basara, who's up in 8th place. Now, we can see, though, at the front, it's as you were in the top 5. Takubi has got himself up into 6th and is trying to stay with the train at the front of the field at the moment. But it is Tom Campbell who leads the way ahead of Portuguese Beast, as they were in qualifying. Esko Kalevi coming under some pressure here from his championship rival Parker as we climb the hill. DRS enabled this lap. You'll see the flaps in the rear wing open up as drivers are within a second of the car ahead, and Esko Kalevi getting very close to the back of Portuguese Beast, but not close enough to make the move this time around.
Oh, as Brand sends a move on FST Robin, and unfortunately didn't get the move done, just clunks the McLaren out of the way, but
Brand also with damage. Yeah. I don't think that's from that incident though, because that's his front left end plate, and Bran was on the inside when we jumped on board. So it would surely be his front right where he would have lost an end plate if there was damage from that collision. So I wonder if that was picked up when we saw him run wide through Desida de Largo on the first lap. So not an ideal start for the man who's been away from Tier 1 for the past 16 races, but he's still going to be there or thereabouts by the end of this race, you would expect. You can see the top 10 starting to get away here, as Robin on those hard tyres is just about staying within DRS. It's going to be close as he comes up to the detection point, that little white line across the track. He was within a second, and you see there the rear wing opens up, and he gets that extra bit of straight line speed. Esco Kalevi had a think about a move down the inside, but I tell you who did make the move. Portuguese Beast leads in Brazil. He's not finished higher than 5th in his career so far, but he's going to be having to fight hard here as Tom Campbell takes the DRS on the second time around and gets the move back. Back into the lead goes the Australian. Portuguese Beast back down to second, but the gloves are coming off here as, oh, Tom Campbell's dropping back.
Internet issues.
Disconnection potentially. He still seems to be in the lobby, but that is so unfortunate for the Australian. Clear connection issue there, and he has dropped all the way back to 7th place as Sausage Joe speeds into the pits, and that will be it for the Sauber. So a retirement there, and that is our 25th retirement of the season. We're only in round 6 as the Red Bull of Trosh goes off wide in the background. A bit of damage on his car there, and he drops down into 10th place.
Yes. Tom Campbell is still in the lobby, so unfortunately it's not... Oh, yeah, that's so unfortunate. As Esco Kalevi, championship leader, up into the lead. There goes past the... I had to Google it. I might have to excuse me here. I had to Google what language do they speak in Brazil, and I was like, yeah, it's Portuguese, isn't it? I was like, yeah, no wonder the Portuguese beast is so good. So quick.
Catsper has left. If we can get him back as soon as possible. He's going to drop down the order, unfortunately, because of that disconnect, but we'll work to get Catsper in as soon as we can. Out at the front, thankfully for Tom Campbell, he is still with the top group, but Takubi ahead of him, trying to make the move on Krabs. He puts his nose down the inside and scares the Aston Martin into a mistake, and up into 4th goes the Ferrari. A great start by the Belgian here, who is looking to try and get that record-breaking 11th career victory, tied with J Repo, Panos Veras and Michal Opalka on 10 race wins so far. He started 7th tonight, and he is already up into 4th place. But for Tom, he'll just be happy that he is still with this top group. The race is not over for him yet. We've seen his pace, and I'm sure we'll see more of it here tonight as Portuguese Beast ride on board with him down the inside of the Williams, late on the brakes into turn 1. Slight lock-up on the front left, but completes the move. Will he be able to hold on to it, though, this time around, as he will not have the DRS? Down the Retro we go for the 6th time here tonight. No moves being made, though, this time around. And he continues on. Apparently, Ollie, your mic isn't sounding great, according to Sway in the chat. So you'll have to let us know if it improves as the race goes on. We'll try and fix that problem for you while the race is going on. And so far, Tom Campbell has got himself back up into 5th. We didn't see when that happened, but the V-Carb making some progress yet again. He's up into the top 5, and it's actually a 3-5 at the moment for V-Carb, so a very strong performance by the team, currently 3rd in the Constructors' Championship. They picked up their first pole position point with Tom Campbell's pole, and that actually drew them level with Williams this season, but still 3rd in the championship based on previous results. Williams with 3 third-place finishes compared to V-Carb's 0. Oh, sorry, no, V-Carb have a 2nd, so no, V-Carb are up into 2nd in the Constructors with that pole position point. Further back, Brown and Magnussen Cube doing battle over 11th place at the moment. The 2 McLarens ahead of them starting to escape a little bit. 1.6 seconds clear of the Briton in the Aston Martin as the Haas of Magnussen Cube tries to go all the way around the outside. That turns to the inside, and he will just about get the move done. But Brown looking back down the inside now into turn 8 there. getting the move almost done, but the Haas holds on, but then spins on the exit. No, the Albanian in the Haas, leaves the session as well, and that's weird. The car then teleports about half a sector further forward, so another car that we have to try and get in. Do you have Magnussen Cube added, Ollie, or if not?
I do, so yeah.
We'll try and get him back in, but another couple of disconnects in this race. Very unfortunate for Katzberg and Magnussen Cube. Neither of them back in the lobby yet, so hopefully we can get both of those in. Robin making moves here as the battle for 7th rages on. Robin up into P7, making 2 moves in one corner as Katzberg rejoins the race. Ghosty down to 8th, having to do some defensive work here as Trosh looks to the inside of the Ferrari into the Cedar de Largo at turn 4 and gets the move done. Very good work by the Tier 2 race winner earlier this afternoon. Now up into 8th in Tier 1. And he continues to try and prove his worth in the higher division, and he's certainly doing that so far. Back out at the front, Portuguese Beast quite comfortable at the moment for him. 7/10 clear of Esco Clevi in P2. And Portuguese Beast going for his first podium, let alone his first win in Tier 1. And he's starting this race as he means to go on very quickly indeed. There is a reminder of the tyres for all our drivers. Mediums for everyone except for FST Robin. There's lock up for Parker into turn 1, but he's getting close to the back of the Williams of Esco Clevi as into the pits comes Ghosty for a very early pit stop here. Switching off the medium compound of tyre, and we'll see what he goes on to. I'd assume a set of hards, and indeed he does. So he will look to go for the next 26, 27 laps of this race on a set of hard tyres. It won't be easy, but it is doable for the Ferrari. So Katzberg is back in. Magnussen Cube we are yet to see rejoin, but hopefully for his sake he can get back in. Out at the front, Portuguese Beast continuing to stretch away and almost escaping the DRS of Esco Clevi behind him. The Williams having to push quite hard, but the Haas also low on battery. So Portuguese Beast just trying to pick up the pace of this race a little bit. He's doing a good job of it so far, as in the background Kubi closing in on the V-carb of Parker. Behind them, Tom Campbell about half a second adrift in 5th place, with Krabs in the Aston Martin just clinging on to the back of this group in 6th place. But for this opening stint, I think it is very much going to be follow the leader. Unfortunately, we're seeing Parker get close to the Williams ahead of him, but not close enough as Kubi's having to think about the move at Piratella of Ferradura at turn 6. He is practically pushing the V-carb through the corners here. He's getting so close to the rear end of it, but not able to make that move stick. But perhaps the Ferrari just a bit better on his tyres at this stage of the race. Tom Campbell now returning the favour and practically pushing to Kubi through Bica de Paso there. It is nose to tail, this top 6 at the moment. You could throw a cloth over the group as it currently stands. And as we head up to the line, anyone thinking about that early pit stop? Not this time around. Krabs is dropping back at the rear end of this group as Tom Campbell has a look down the inside of Scooby and gets the move done. An impressive lunge there from the V-carb to promote himself back into 4th place. Gets the move completed. Very nicely done by the Australian, and Kubi has to regroup and go again now in 5th place.
Yeah, Tom Campbell looking so strong after his disconnect. Yeah, trying to make up that lost time after losing the race lead through no fault of his own. I mean, hopefully, I'm not a V-car buyer still, but hopefully he can get back there to where he was robbed. It's now 2 weeks in a row we've now lost the race leader due to a disconnect, so not ideal.
Yeah, certainly not, and it's an ongoing issue with the F1 game this year, with disconnects and Difficulty at overtaking and stuff like that. I mean, in fairness to them, the difficulty at overtaking, they've kind of nailed it for mirroring real life there. But yeah, it's certainly not what you want on a game whatsoever. Magnus and Cube, I get the feeling he might not be coming back, and you have to wonder whether him leaving was because of him spinning the car and the game decided to reset the car for him or something, because still not returned, and he was there or thereabouts in the battle as Krabs has pulled the trigger early here. The Aston Martin into the pits, onto the hard compounder tyres, and going for the undercut on the rest of the top 6, so we may be seeing drivers forced into pit stops here, because Krabs taking that pit stop will put the entire top 5 at risk of the undercut, although Takubi massively dropped back here, 1.5 seconds back from Tom Campbell. The Ferrari's tyres completely shot at this stage of the race. That is very weird to see him drop quite so far back, or is it just the pace of Tom Campbell ahead of him?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we saw him pushing Parker like through the middle sector a few times in the previous laps, and maybe he just overworked the tyres, and now he's suffering. And obviously with the guys ahead of him now, I mean, DRS is just unfortunately going to fall back. As, is that someone into the pits? Yes, it is. Let's go Kalevi into the pits then.
Let's go Kalevi in, and Tom Campbell gets the move done on his teammate and does a little wiggle as he goes past to say, let's go and attack the man in the lead at the moment. 1.1 seconds back though. Tom Campbell will not have DRS this time around, and instead might have to defend from his teammate Parker as they head down the Retroposta. Esko Kalevi came in, as we saw, as Tom keeps his teammate behind this time around. Let's have a look as Esko Kalevi leads the pits. The Aston Martin in the background is that of Krabs, as his Aston Martin teammate Bran retires in the pit lane. Out of the pits comes Esko Kalevi. There is the Aston Martin of Krabs. Has the undercut work? Not this time around. Esko Kalevi holds on to the position, and Krabs will have to stay behind the Williams for the time being. So Esko pitting at the crucial moment, holding on to his position. So that says to me the undercut is powerful, but not powerful enough, because Esko was running around in P2 when he came into the pits, and was probably about 2 seconds ahead of the Aston Martin, so he's probably lost about 1.5 seconds there as we see Tom Campbell now bail into the pits. So that move on Parker, absolutely crucial for the Australian, because he now gets the choice of pitting before his teammate as Nahir Asara picks up a 10-second time penalty and the first penalty of this race.
Yeah, it's so easy to get a penalty here. It's just such a fast entry, and then the line approaches you faster than you're expecting it, unfortunately. And yeah, that's gonna hurt him. And
Tom Campbell slides his way out of the pit lane there, and well, no damage. It will have cost him a bit of time, but I tell you what, he had already lost those positions to Esko Kalevi and Krabs, so the undercut has massively worked for Esko, and you have to say the Williams now is in a net race lead, so Esko Kalevi looking to become the first driver this season to grab multiple race victories, and it would be the first time he's scored consecutive wins in his career, but that might set alarm bells along the top 3 who are still yet to pit from their medium tyres. Parker and Portuguese Beast coming around to the pit lane at the moment. The Portuguese driver stays out, Parker into the pits as Rismo now leaves the session. But Parker pits, Takubi also staying out. So these two going long on their medium tyres to then be able to push later on the hards in this race. But yeah, we keep an eye on Parker as he puts on the white wall hards, comes back into the fast lane of the pits. And, well, we'll see as it cuts back to an off-board camera angle that Tom Campbell has well and truly overtaken his teammates here, and Parker is miles behind his championship rival. You saw them there on the screen. Parker is almost going to come under pressure from Ghosty in 10th place, who, remember, pit on lap 9. It's, yeah, Parker 2 seconds behind his teammate. Those mediums must have completely died off on that one extra lap that he did compared to his Australian teammate.
Yeah, you've got to think now, if that's what happened to Parker, what's going to happen to our front 2 of Takubi and Portuguese Beast? I mean, you have to think, what do they need? They kind of need to pit now, or else Yeah,
And they do.
Yeah, he does. What will Scooby do? Will he stay out?
Oh, but he speeds into the
no!
pits, and that might be race chances over for Portuguese Beast. He comes in, and I was wondering as he was coming into the pit lane, I was thinking to myself, this looks a little bit quick. It was too quick, speeding into the pit lane. 10 seconds will be added to his time. He can, of course, serve it if he comes into the pits a second time in this race. But for the Haas, that is race win opportunity thrown away. Well and truly, he will come out behind Parker as well. Takumi stayed out, by the way, so very interesting from him to go up for his 16th lap on his medium tyres. He is going to come out in what will be 9th place, maybe even 10th when he comes into the pit lane, but he will have much fresher tyres, so we'll have to wait and see. Risbo saying his game crashed. Let us know if you're trying to get back in, Risbo, and Ollie will send you an invite across. But yeah, Takumi staying out for another lap. Very interesting. I am not too sure what the Belgian is cooking up here. If he comes into the pits now, which he does, so he'll do 20 laps on hard tyres, but coming in very late indeed. So FST Robin now leads the way. Risbo says he'll join through Steam, so doesn't need the invite. But Robin leads the way on his debut. As Catsper now speeds into the pits, and any hope of a recovery drive for the Red Bull here probably gone, unless we get a safety car. We did see a late safety car in Tier 2 earlier on as Nahir Basara retires in the pit lane. So that is the McLaren out of this race, while his teammate leads the way. Krabs 9 seconds back, and you have to remember, Krabs has pit in this race. He's overtaken Esko Kalevi. You can see there, only Robin, Villius and Magnussen Cube yet to pit, although Magnussen is currently serving his pit stop as we speak. Is that a second stop for Risbo? Yeah, his AI has pitted him twice. He must have done medium, I'm assuming, and the AI has decided now is a good chance to pit. But yeah, Robin leads the way, 8 seconds, and the gap is coming down quickly. Krabs in second, looking strong at the moment. The Aston Martin has sort of come up from nowhere in this race. He started in 5th place, and we didn't really mention him in the pre-race build-up. But he has quietly gone about his business and is on course to be in the net race lead when everyone's pit stops are made. But we'll have to wait and see. What have you seen?
Yeah, as Julius retires, as he goes sideways into the pit entry. I thought he was about to speed, but no. He literally went sideways inwards, and he becomes the 4th retirement of the race.
Yeah, so that is both Alpines essentially out of this race, as we see Tom Campbell down the inside of Esko Kalevi, and Tom is making some fantastic moves here today as he looks to recover from the disconnect that dropped him from the race lead down into 7th. And I tell you what, he is a man on a mission. He is the one to be stopped at the moment, up into 3rd place, a net P2 whenever the McLaren currently leading this race comes in. And Tom Campbell, yes, looking very quick indeed. I tell you what, Parker might be about to follow his teammate through. He is tucked into the slipstream of the Williams ahead of him. Esko Kalevi leading the championship ahead of the man we ride on board with currently. Not close enough this time around though, and the American driver stays in P5, but his teammate is thinking of the move for 2nd place, and around the outside at turn 3 he goes down the Retro-Aposta. He has the DRS, and that is a simple overtake for Tom Campbell. Up into a net race lead he goes as Catsby and Jacek sets the fastest lap in 10th place. Tom is on a mission here, and now he'll look to try and stretch his advantage at the front of this pack as much as he can. We have to go back 7 seconds to go Ghosty in 6th and Takumi in 7th. Takumi's race has sort of fallen apart with that late pit stop, and he'll be hoping for some sort of safety car intervention, I feel, in this one. It's still a good result as Catsper leaves again. Poor guy with these these connection issues tonight. But yeah, for the Ferraris, they'll be hoping for some sort of safety car intervention to get themselves back into this race. They are in a net P5 and 6 at the moment, with Robin still yet to pit in this race.
Yeah, call Tom Campbell call Tom Campbell Buster because he's on a roll.
Oh dear God.
I stick up Parker.
Parker goes to the move on Esko Kalevi, gets it down the inside with the DRS at the Cedar de Lago. Risbo finally joins back, and we also saw very briefly a bit of team orders going on from the Ferrari duo there as Takubi gets past Goat Ghosty and puts himself up into 6th place. The gap now 6.5 seconds between Takubi and Esko Kalevi. We'll keep an eye on that over the next few laps and see how much the Belgian driver can catch up, because these guys are all in a train at the moment. And there is certainly an opportunity for Takubi to catch up, and he's gained another half a second in this sector alone. So perhaps Takubi not out of this race just yet. Robin continues on in the race lead as we start lap 21 of 36 here at the Autodromo Jose Carlos Pache. Or Jose Carlos Pass, actually, I think it is, the pronunciation. My apologies to any Portuguese speakers watching the stream. Takubi setting the fastest lap there and setting a bit of a statement to the top 5 as Trosh locks up on the way down the inside of the Ferrari of Goat Ghosty. A lovely move by the Red Bull, who is leading his team here at the moment. But Goat Ghosty thinking of fighting back. Will he be close enough? He's thinking of it down the inside into the Cedar de Lago, but not quite close enough. Trosh holds on, and that's P7 for the race winner in Tier 2 earlier on this afternoon. Esko Kalevi down in 5th. I think he's thinking of the bigger picture here at the moment. He's not pushing too hard, he's just sticking with this front group and seeing what comes to him later on in this race. Tom Campbell, on the other hand, is thinking the exact opposite. He is trying to get away as quickly as possible from Krabs, and he's almost escaped the DRS from him. 1.0 seconds as we cross the line. I don't think Krabs has got the DRS this time around. Let's keep an eye out. No, he doesn't, as Robin comes into the pits to make his pit stop. Parker gets himself up into 2nd, and it is a V-Carb 1-2 here in Interlagos, with Parker in 2nd, and his teammate Tom Campbell 1.2 seconds clear at the front of the field.
Yeah,
Further battling going on.
Krabs to stay there, try and keep one car between him and Esko Kalevi to, well, I don't know the word to use there.
I don't know what you're trying to say, so I can't really help you.
Like
big slide from Portuguese Beast there. He's just got past Goat Ghosty for 7th place, and coming through the downhill sequence of turns 4 and 5 at the Cedar de Lago. He had a bit of a slide, but controls it. But it's crazy to think Portuguese Beast, we were talking about potentially getting his first race win in SKG Tier 1 earlier on. He had his best qualifying of P2. And that race has just fallen apart. 10-second time penalty still to be added at the end of this race for speeding into the pit lane. And he's all the way down in 7th place, a mile off the race lead. Tell you who isn't a mile off the race lead though. This man right here, Takubi, 4.2 seconds. Now the gap, he's taken another second out of the race leaders. He is absolutely flying at the moment. He is the man to beat at this track currently in terms of pace, because he is catching. I'm just seeing who actually won here last season. It was Victor Weidler who won here last season from Stephen Vaso. And who was 3rd? Berber. So we are going to have a completely new podium compared to last season, because all 3 of those drivers not with us anymore in Tier 1, or at least not racing actively. Stephen Vaso picks up a season ban for his antics in Spa. You may remember him crashing into a driver behind the safety car. That earned him a season ban, so we won't be seeing Stephen anytime soon, but Berber and Victor Weidler, welcome back at any time. So it won't be tonight, they will not be on the podium here. And Takubi continuing to gain another couple attempts out of the race lead this time around, but maybe a bit bit too late, to be honest, because he is not gaining as much as he was at the front. The top four still nose to tail. It's a VCARB 1-2, and it is a very good day for the Italian team at the moment. I believe Takubi. Yes, Takubi has the fastest lap at the moment, so he is on course to get that extra point, which will be very welcome for him, I'm sure. Just riding on board with race leader Tom Campbell currently. Everyone inside the top four just equally spaced out at the moment. Takubi continuing to gain in the middle sector quite a lot, but it's then when they get back to the pit straights and the drivers behind Tom Campbell get DRS that he just loses so much time. And yeah, it's he sort of almost loses everything that he has gained back, unfortunately for him. Portuguese Beast gets past Trosh and up into 6th place now. So they're reserving the Red Bull back down into 7th, and Portuguese Beast 6th place, but a long way adrift, and of course has that timed penalty. You can see the penalties there. Trosh has a 3-second penalty for track limits, but Portuguese Beast and Katzberg and Jacek, the other Red Bull, of course, both with 10-second time penalties for speeding into the pit lane. And Katzberg yet to rejoin this race. I don't expect we'll see him back in this one, unfortunately, unless maybe there's a late safety car. We might see him come back for that, but otherwise I think he'll be P10 for the Red Bull, who struggled with connection issues throughout this race. Takubi 3.5 seconds back now. He's slowly creeping up still, but not quite close enough yet to being really in the conversation for this race win. So, let's take a look, or let's figure out, should I say, while we are watching the top four at the moment. We keep an eye on Parker, who is behind his teammates, but just taking a look at what would be the live championship standings at the moment, and what this does in the championship. So, with Tom Campbell currently leading the way, it will take him up to 43 points, and what would be third in the championship at the moment. Just adding on everyone else's points as we go. Robin, of course, on debut, so he yet to score in this season. He has got past Goat Ghosty, though, for 8th place at the moment. Goat Ghosty down in 9th, Katzberg in 10th. And as we look at things, currently, it will be Esko Kalevi holding on to the championship lead if things end how they are currently. He will be on 90 points with 4th place today, but Parker will slash the gap entirely from 7 points to just 1. It will be 90 points for Esko Kalevi. It will be 89 points for Parker. So those two closing up massively. Tom Campbell will improve to 3rd in the standings on 43 points, with then Nardo in 4th on 42, tied with Takubi also on 42 points, as we see Magnus and Cube getting lapped by the front runners at the moment. So yeah, Takubi 5th in the championship as it stands on 42 points. In terms of the constructors, with this 1-2, VCARB will become your new leaders in the Constructors' Championship on 133 points, leaping from 3rd to 1st in one round. Williams will be 2nd on 102, Red Bull 3rd, just 3 points behind on 99, with Ferrari 4th on 64 points as things stand, just 2 points ahead of Kick Sauber with 62. So those are your live championship standings as we are on lap 28 of 36. We're coming towards the end of this race now, and the top two, the two VCARBs, looking to get away from Krabs and Esko Kalevi in 3rd and 4th. The Aston Martin almost a second back now. And is this where we start to see this is a two-horse race for the race win here in Brazil? Do we see team orders as well, Ollie? That is the question we have to think about in these final few laps.
Yeah, I was actually just thinking that are the two V-carbs actually going to swap places? If things stay as they are, obviously, it's a 7-point swing between second and first. So that would, leapfrog Parker into the championship lead by quite a few points.
Yeah, if it ends as it currently is, Parker will be 1 point behind Esko Clevi. If they did swap places, Parker would lead by... Oh, Krabs is out of DRS, so Esko might have a chance to sneak onto the podium here, but if the V-Carbs were to swap, Parker would lead the championship by 6 points. If they don't, he'd be 1 point off the lead, but it's only the first half of the season, and if I was V-Carb, I wouldn't be swapping them in this. Parker is gaining a lot of points on Esko Clevi at the moment, and a 1 point swing, Parker could get that by getting pole position in Baku. You know, it's not the end of the world there. I would rather try and get my second driver a bit closer to the top two in the championship and a bit further up, rather than swapping them around, because sure, it is a nearly, his teammate actually has over double his points as it stands. Parker will be on 89, Tom Campbell on 43, but I don't see the need for them to swap over at this stage of the season. All it takes is a race where Parker can't attend, or a DNF, and suddenly you're back in the championship fights. So doing team orders this early in the season, I don't think it's necessary, and I don't see V-Carb doing it myself. I think if it is, it'll be purely Tom Campbell's personal decision, as we see Esko Clevi getting closer to Krabs, but not close enough this time around into turn 1. Look in the background though, there is Takumi, 2.4 seconds back. I think he is well and truly out of the fight for the win here in Brazil, so his wait for win number 11, that record-breaking victory, will go on. But you can't rule him out of the podium fight just yet. 2 seconds could well close up in a matter of a couple of laps if the two in front of him are losing that much time. Small note to make, Ghosty has come into the pit lane. He has gone on to a new set of the hard tyres, which is actually his second set of hards, taking those to the end of the race. But he had such a comfortable gap to Katsby and Jacek, he was able to make that work. And I think now the question is, does Robin pit before the end of this race? He is on medium tyres that will take him to the end. I wouldn't be surprised if he is not going to catch the guys ahead of him if he comes in to get that extra point for fastest lap. But I like what Ghosty's done here. If he knew his tyres weren't going to last, he's pit early to sort of force Robin's hand, because the undercut will be big for the Ferrari, as you see Esko Clevi down the inside into turn 1. Slight lock up on the front left, but gets the move done, and he's up into third place. So that 1 point gap in the championship as it stands now extends a little bit, as Esko Clevi on course for a third podium in a row, and he'll now be 4 points clear of Parker as things stand. Takumi almost within a second as well, so we could see a three-way fight for this last spot on the podium by the looks of things in the final laps. But yeah, Portuguese Beast with a 10-second time penalty could well find himself dropping to 8th at the moment. As Ghosty sets the fastest lap of the race, so takes that point away from his teammate. The two Ferraris doing battle over the fastest lap as things stand. And that now drops Takumi. Well, I say it drops Takumi in the championship. He remains 5th as he was before, but now it's 5th by a point rather than 5th by countback. But he could well be improving his position sooner rather than later. Here comes the Ferrari, closing up to the back of the Aston Martin, but he won't be close enough this time around, and it will be 5th place once more for Takumi. So, into the final 5 laps of this Brazilian Grand Prix, which I think it's fair to say, Ollie, it's been a slow burner It's not been a classic Brazilian Grand Prix. There have been flashes of brilliance that we have seen, like Tom Campbell fighting back from 7th after his disconnect with a couple of fantastic overtakes. We've seen battling in the midfield as well. Trosh has put on a great show, currently in 7th place and on course for 6th as things stand. But it's been far from constant action, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been a tiny bit of tier 4 in there with the gaps kind of extending to. Well, obviously we had that DRS train between our front 5, I want to say front 6, early on, and now obviously we've got 2 V carbs that have run away, not really battling, which obviously you don't expect them to be wheel banging and all that. They're playing the team game. It's very, very smart, and they're doing a good job. Obviously we have got the fight for 3rd, which
I think we might be about to see a fight for 3rd as well coming up, because Crab's got a good launch through turn 1 there, really closed up on the back of Esco, but then had a horrible run through the centre S, and Takumi is all over the back of the Aston Martin, which is forcing the Aston Martin to try and attack the Williams. Not quite close enough this time around, but these 3 nose to tail over this last spot on the podium. And Takumi is looking racy, looks to the inside of the Aston Martin at Ferradura, and the gap opens up through the second part of the corner. There's contact, and he does make his way through, and you've got to... I'm not too sure what to think about that one, to be honest. The Aston Martin slid wide and the door did open, but Takumi, it was a very opportunistic move. It's just whether it crossed the line. What are your thoughts on that one, Ollie?
I don't think it's anything too bad. I mean, yeah, like you say, the gap opened and then Takumi just saw it and just went for it, and unfortunately Krabs then came back across on Takumi.
It looked like the Aston Martin had a snap of oversteer, which carried him a little bit wide, or just the car drifted that bit wide mid-corner, and then as he's recovered it and come back across, there's the Ferrari on his inside. So it's a tough one. I'm trying not to see it through Ferrari tinted glasses, of course, being the team principal for them, but I'm sort of torn. I'm interested, Rizbo, if you're still in the stream chat. I'm not sure if you are. I'm not actually sure if Rizbo... He might be back racing, but you never know. He's trying to chase down Catsbear's ghost at the moment.
Rizbo is here, yeah.
We'll leave him to it. He's trying to chase down Catsbear's ghost, but yeah, I'm interested if anyone else is in the stream chat, what they think of that one, because I can see it from both sides. I can see Krabs saying he probably would have defended that position if Takumi didn't stick himself into that gap, but I can also see Takumi saying, yeah, but you opened that door and then tried to shut it again. So I'm not too sure, but what it has certainly done is given us a really interesting battle for the final spot on the podium, heading into the last couple of laps here. Esco Clevi versus Takumi. I bet Rizbo wishes he was in the podium battle at the moment, but here comes Takumi down the inside as we start the penultimate lap here in Interlagos. Gets the move done very simply, but will he be able to defend it this time around, as Esco Clevi will have the DRS heading down the Reta Aposta? But I think he's too far back, and I think for Takumi, that might be a podium secured.
Yeah, he's done a great drive of catching up what I think was a 5 or 6 second gap. So now sitting on the podium. I mean, what a recovery he's had. Obviously, still a lap and a half to go.
Great work, and I tell you what, those 2 overtakes that he has done have shifted up the championship a little bit, should we say. So, with Tom Campbell currently leading the way, and we will, of course, keep an eye on that top battle on the final lap if there is any change in leadership between the 2 V-carbs. But Tom Campbell with the win on 43 points, but Takumi with those 2 overtakes in the last 2 laps, he is now 3rd in the championship. 46 points for the Ferrari as things stand. And he moves himself into 3rd, ahead of Tom Campbell in 4th on 43 points, and Nardo in 5th on 42. At the front, Esco Clevi dropping to 4th puts him back onto 90 points, but still in the lead of the championship by a single point from Parker, who is currently 2nd in this race and right behind his teammate. This is the last lap. Will we see anything from Parker? Depends how desperate he is to take the championship lead back as we enter the second half of the season. He is not really close enough.
Unless Parker is a genius at maths and can work it out in his head during the race, he probably won't know.
Yeah, unless he is listening to the stream or he is working it out as we go, he won't know where he is going to be currently in the championship. You wouldn't expect, so we'll wait and see. But for the time being, Tom Campbell continues to lead us around, and right now it looks like it will be his day. He was dominant in qualifying, taking the biggest margin of victory to pole that we have seen all season, and he wiggles his way up towards the line at the moment. He continues to wiggle with his teammates. It's a VCARB 1-2. They have been the class of the field here in Brazil. It is dominance from the Racing Bulls as they race their way to a 1-2 finish. And I believe a first 1-2 finish for VCARB as a team. Congratulations to them. It is their day today as they take not just the Constructors' Championship lead, but also their first 1-2 in SKG Tier 1. Takubi takes third on the podium, ahead of Esco Clevi and Krabs in fourth and fifth. Trosh, a fantastic result for the Red Bull, up in sixth as he gets ahead of Portuguese Beast due to his speeding in the pit lane penalty that added on 10 seconds to his time at the end of the race. FST Robin on debut in P8, a great job from him, picking up 4 points for himself and his team. Goat Ghosty in ninth, also picking up the fastest lap of this race, and Rizbo did catch and overtake Catsby and J-Chicks Ghost. He takes the last points here in 10th place. So there you have it. What a ending to that race, and it's lovely to see the two VCARBs there weaving together on the way up to the line. There was no need for letting people through in this race. The championship still young. We're only halfway through at this point, and I tell you what is particularly exciting. It is 6 races, and it is 6 different winners. We had Parker in the opening round at Australia. We had Nardu in Italy at his home race. Oliver Knott, in his one appearance this season, took the win on the streets of Jeddah. Then it was Takubi at his home circuit in Belgium before Esco Clevi took his second career win in Singapore. And now tonight, Tom Campbell makes it 6 from 6 as we enter the second half of the season in what has been a wide open Season 16 championship. There you have it. We'll take a look at the race director for anyone needing it. Not too many warnings, not too many penalties here today. A very clean race by Tier 1. There may be eyebrows raised at a couple of moves. We wait and see what happens with the Takubi versus Krabs incident, whether that gets sent to the stewards or not. But I've actually just seen in the Tier 1 chat a conversation going on between Takubi and Krabs. Takubi saying, "My bad, Krabs, would have given it back, but you kind of just turn in on me." And Krabs responding, "Yeah, it was my bad. God bless we didn't die," said Takubi. Krabs admitting he didn't expect him to go for it at that corner at turn 7 of Curva de la Laranjina. Didn't expect for it there, so wasn't looking at the proximity arrows. And Takubi said it was practically his only chance to go for the move, and he had to take it. And boy did he. It ended up in him getting a podium, getting himself up into 3rd in the Drivers' Championship. What a race, Ollie. And
yeah,
as always, we'll do our driver of the day, but I feel like I know where this might be going.
Well, yeah, I mean, for a race that, like we were saying, was a bit of a slow burner, that definitely got spiced up to the end with Takubi doing what Takubi really does best sometimes and just excels in the race pace. And yeah, obviously getting going from that 5 or 6 second gap, which I'm still amazed at, with the guys ahead of him with the DRS and everything, like catching up that much and then passing them for the podium. Yeah, great job from Takubi, and yeah, a race that I enjoyed watching very much so.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a great drive from people there, and it's also worth noting there are a few things we have to note at the end of this race. First of all, Esco Clevi, so consistent so far this season. 3rd, 5th, 4th, 3rd, 1st, 4th. That man is on a mission, and he might not be going to win the title with sheer dominance every round. He's just looking to do it as consistently as he can, and it is paying off so far. Championship leader at the moment. Congratulations to VCOB. We said it earlier. Their first 1-2 finish as a team in SKG Tier 1. A phenomenal achievement from them, and they were dominant throughout the race today. But also, hats off to Parker himself. A record equaling 30th straight points scoring race. Phenomenal effort from him. That is now his, I'm trying to work it out on the fly, 18 points. Takes him to 402 points in the last 30 races. Points in every single one of those. 5 wins and 14 podiums in total in that time. Absolutely phenomenal. Equals Mikaela Palka for 30 straight races in the points. Amazing stuff from him. Red Bull continuing their point scoring streak, of 14th race scoring points for them. That is a team record. And Williams, a 28th race in the points for them, extending their own records. So congrats to both constructors there. VCARB still extending their DNF-less streak, if that's how we put it. Streak without retiring. Now 7 races for them since they last retired, so yet to taste a DNF this season, I believe. But yeah, phenomenal job from them. Oh, sorry, 6th straight race for them, I believe. But yeah, absolutely incredible scenes for them. I think Tom Campbell has to be driver of the day, though. Today he was dominant in qualifying, biggest margin of pole all season. And then in the race, he overcame that disconnect and managed to still take the race win ahead of his championship contending teammate.
100%. Yeah, I couldn't agree more with that. Yeah, he drove like he drove like a champion. So what?
It was.
Yeah, really
was
good drive.
A champion's drive, and well, we're only 6 rounds in to this season, and that gap. At the moment, from Tom Campbell to the championship lead is 47 points, so it is quite a gap to try and close up, but all it takes is one race to go in your favour, and he could be right back in it, so definitely not time to give up just yet for Tom Campbell. Of course, he has to help his VCARB team as well, leading the Constructors' Championship by 31 points as it stands. A phenomenal effort by them. But that is all she wrote for Brazil. What a slow burner of a race, but what a finish it was. And we see the celebrations of VCARB that I'm sure will go on long into the night. You'll be joining us back here next week for the Azerbaijan
Oh, wow.
circuit. That was a pronunciation and a half from me. We are going to the Baku City circuit for the first time since Season 9. Only our 4th trip to that circuit. Very much looking forward to it. A incredible circuit, visually at least, with the incredibly narrow castle section and whatnot. But the action will kick off, as always, Thursday at 8 PM UK time with Tier 4. Following that up on Friday night at the same time with Tier 3. And then it is your Super Saturday, as always. Tier 2 at 5 PM UK time on Saturday, followed by Tier 1 at 8 PM. For now, though, Brazil, it put on a mild show, but boy did it end well for the VCARB team. Championship constructors leaders, and one man very much in the title fight now. 1 point between Esko Palevi and Parker as we enter the second half. We'll see you next week for the Baku City Circuit Grand Prix. For now, it's goodbye from us.
Oh.
I am so glad I didn't stop it.